Hey Libra, how's it going everybody? Welcome to Blue Mountains Tarot. This is going to be your reading for the first half of June. These are general readings. Please keep that in mind. Only take messages that resonate for you. If you are interested in a personal reading, I do offer them. You can reach me below in the description box. I was just taking a look there at 10 of Cups with the Star card, so that's a pretty nice energy to see there. Thank you in advance, Libra, for your likes, shares, comments, subscriptions. I appreciate everybody's support. Let's take a look here at what's happening with you guys on the first half of June. Feels like a very dreamy energy, which would be relatable with Libra. It's like a determined will without losing hope about retaining your happiness. Okay, just a little side note there when I saw those two cards. Let's see here, what's going on? Libra, Six of Pentacles, the Magician, the Death card, the Strength, and the Six of Swords. Okay, so it's time for you here, Libra. There's a big change. It feels like a much needed change. Why? Because your skills, your assets, your talents, there's a better use for them elsewhere. It's kind of like you're making or creating something that's not being consumed at the current place. You know, it feels to me like a baker, you know, somebody who you make the best bread in the world, but the community you live in is gluten-free and nobody wants your bread. Okay, so it's kind of like there's a better purpose, better service, better sort of use of your skills and talents. So it feels here that you've got to have some endings. Why? But it's in a good way. It's to really bring you to this place where you're properly supported or you're aligned. It's more about alignment here. So it is requiring you right now to continue pushing through. You know, you may have to, with that Death card, you may have to end and restart again, Six of Swords. So you may have to sort of allow for the ending of one thing in order to start up again. So it may feel like a little bit of a reset, but it's for the better. I feel that you're gonna have that Six of Pentacles. I feel like you're gonna have a lot more support for what you're offering. Okay, it's a better suited. It could be even as much of a location in something. So if some of you are, say, you have a business and you're like off of the main street, maybe you've got to let go of that other area to come onto the main street to get more attention, to get more. So there's a sense here of, I feel like although we don't necessarily have movement cards, except for Six of Swords, there's a bit of location, your stage, so to speak, how you're presented, how you're presenting. It's sort of pushing you. The energy here I have, Libra, is it's pushing you to utilize your strengths, it's pushing you to sort of tap into unused skills, or, you know, we sometimes get complacent in life and maybe we just sort of took something that was a little bit easier, the easier road. But sometimes when it gets too easy or too laid back, it could get a little complacent. So something here has created this somewhat drastic, but in a good way, change, endings. It's like something ended, you had to move on from because it's closed up. You know, it ended, then you move on, but you didn't move on because it didn't end. That kind of feeling. So something had to change or end for you to move on. That's because it's to give you the strength to move on into something much more for yourself. You've got Gemini, Scorpio, and Leo energy here. There you are, Two of Pentacles, okay? So there is this deciding on what it is you're doing, what you're going to create, what you're going to change in your life. Two of Swords. Not sure how. Again, if you don't make the decisions in things, you've got the Two of Pentacles lined up with the Magician and the Two of Swords lined up with the Death card. I feel like this is sort of taking a little bit of the guesswork out for you, or pushing you in a direction, making a decision for you. But sometimes we don't have to make decisions. They're made based on the default of something else. What is this about, though? The Judgment. There you go. Your decisions being sort of aligned for you to kind of, it lines up so that it's more of an easier decision. You know, do I move? Do I stay? Well, guess what? The landlord's putting the house up for sale. You're moving. There's no more contemplating. Do I stay? Do I go? Do I move? Do I not? Well, if the landlord puts your house up for sale, you're out. You're moving out. You know, they're moving in, you're moving out. So there's a feeling of that. It was meant for you to put the past behind you. It's time to move into the future here, Libra. Time to move into something that's much more, it's greater. You know, you're meant for greatness. We all are. You're meant for good things. You're meant for great things. It's greatness. It's putting you into a place of seeing just what life has in store for you. But maybe you were just enjoying the ride and it sort of needed a little nudge from the universe to sort of push you out of your comfort zone. Okay, what else for Libra? Temperance, Sagittarius energy, the Lovers. You got a lot of majors, guys. You have a lot of majors. So there's some patience required here in a partnership. Or, you know, there could be a little bit of healing or patience required when we're healing something in this connection. What is this about here? You both have choices, okay? So in a partnership, whether you're in one or whether you were, you know, there's like, we both have to consider each other in our choices. You know, I feel like this is showing us where we all have free will. Okay, you've got that Judgment followed by the Temperance with the Lovers. But are your decisions in the consideration of what the impact is for the other person? Is it healing or hindering? Is it helpful or is it creating more stress? You know, so I feel like there's a thing here around whatever choices you're making within a connection, within a partnership. We have to always consider the other person. It's part of the equation of partnering up with somebody, is having consideration as to your impact or your effect on each other. You know, do unto others as you would like to be done unto you. So there's a thing here around choosing for the highest good, even if that means exiting. I just want to check something out here, Libra. Why do I get this feeling that it's like, it's best I leave, but maybe not. But let me just take a look. Ten of Wands. One more. That's why I was saying, is it adding stress or is it taking stress away from somebody? What is this energy? The Six of Cups. Okay. Not necessarily leaving, but more so infusing more joy, more lightheartedness, bringing in a little more enjoyment, joy, lightheartedness, playfulness, doing things that are not creating any more added or any more stress than necessary in a connection, okay? So for instance, if somebody here is working and the other person is blowing all their money, you're making it difficult for the other person. Like you're creating like all this work for nothing, all this work for just play, for fun. But then somebody has to kind of, you know, so there's something here around creating a sense of harmony and peace and balance. You want to be able to look back here, Libra, regardless of whether you're ending a relationship or you're still in whatever this is, you want to be able to look back and reflect in a positive way without having regrets, without kind of saying like, oh man, like, you know, I've said some things that are pretty harsh in connections when you're having a falling out and you regret what you say. Sometimes we regret, or we look back and we say, oh, I wish I didn't do that. I wish I didn't say that. I wish I, you know, so there's a thing here about remembering what's the impact, what's the impression, what's the memory you're leaving on yourself and on the connection that you're in or on the other person. Okay? Somebody is carrying around or has to consider the burdens or the heaviness in this relationship. Okay, so we're here to help each other. Again, 10 of Wands, the Lovers, the Temperance. You have to balance out the weight. You have to balance out the workload in a connection. You can't always expect somebody to do all the work or to do all the heavy lifting or to take on all the burdens or to take on all the bills. There has to be some form of balance here so that the two of you can, you know, work hard, play hard. The two of you can play, the two of you can enjoy some aspects of your work paying off versus it becoming a burden. And, you know, you might have a resentment after a while with that if you don't. Page of Cups. Yeah. How can you come in to help love or show this person or vice versa? Maybe Libra, it's you that's in need of somebody to come in and sort of give you some emotional support or some help or some love. Talk about your feelings. Maybe that's something that needs to be expressed here. Some heartfelt emotions or feelings about what is bothering you, where you might need some help or support in a connection. Okay, because there is a little bit of room here or energy around how can we heal it? How can we soothe it? Okay, closing off. I feel guided to close the reading. Let's take a look here. What's the closing energy for Libra? Closing energy for Libra. The Ace of Swords. Okay, very much a clear decision or clarity coming in for your relationship. This brings you into this like new beginning. I think the Judgment card is also showing as something here in your life, in your connection, in your relationships of a new beginning. And there's a sense of like, okay, I'm very clear. I made a very decisive, or I've learned a lot in this. Maybe there was a lesson there. Maybe there was something there that gave you a sense of clarity, because you do have a little bit of unclear energy with that Two of Wands and something around making a decision. But once you see how something kind of takes its own course, almost, it takes action on its own accord, and you're in that equation, you sort of see the clarity here, or what is, if it's within this relationship, it's about communicating and getting very clear, being very honest about what are the responsibilities, what are our in each individual roles, how do we impact each other, you know, sharing that to one another, with one another. Let's do your Oracle of the Birds. I feel a lot of white bird. Okay, just saying dove energy is here. Maybe like the ibis. Let's see. Okay, chickadee. Playful, lightness, lighthearted. The joy of life wants to unfold. Where is this here? Here we go. Energetic and by no means shy, this delicate and fragile looking little bird calls your attention to your zest for life. Fluttering, hopping, swinging, and occasionally hanging upside down, the chickadee calls forth your own playfulness. Chickadee never abandons its joy, curious and always ready to discover something new. Mindfully follows its impulses in joyful exhilaration without being scared or worrying all the time. The chickadee enjoys the lightness of being. An encounter with this little messenger of joy can release you from the rigidity of your life as you engage with chickadee's joy. In search of exciting adventures, chickadee is always on the move. Okay, so at the bottom of the deck was the Chariot. I didn't show you guys that, but that's that energy of always being on the move. Be inspired by its open-minded approach to life and allow yourself to remember your long-forgotten dreams and wishes from your childhood days. So there could be something there as well, Libra, with that Six of Cups when it comes to the playfulness, okay, which I had mentioned a little bit, but there could be something there with that Page of Cups Six of Cups and the Ace of Swords about acknowledging or recognizing something of your past, of your childhood. And it's like, I don't want to carry a heavy burden or a heavy responsibility. I want to have a little more playfulness, a little more fun. So there could be a reflection of your past. Let's see what else. Cheerful and full of liveliness, I hop and fly into your life with my yellow feathery dress. I announce the return of the sun and draw you out of any blue feelings. You rarely see my wings rest, as my being wants to bring joy into everything. Are you ready to invite joy into your life? More meanings. Inner child, joy and playfulness. Be curious, try new things. Look at your life from a different perspective. Break out of the routine of your everyday life and remember your dreams and get going. Your affirmation, no matter what situation I'm currently experiencing, I am now connecting with my joy of life with playful ease. So I think that that's something here is breaking out of that routine of your everyday life. And that's where I feel like something could have gotten to the point where the routine was getting a little complacent. It was getting a little like lackluster. And so something here kind of instigated a change in your life or pushed you out of your comfort zone, or maybe a little bit of a rug pulling below our feet to sort of put you into that place as to where you would experience more playfulness, more joy, more fun. Okay? Libra, I want to wish you guys a great day. Thank you so much for all of your likes, your shares, your comments. I appreciate if you subscribe to the channel. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you soon. Take care.